Hi, here's a quick overview of Collabor8online. Collabor8online is a web-based application. There's no need to download any applications or any components. Simply navigate using your browser to c8o.co.uk, enter your email address and your password and click login. Once you've logged into Collabor8online, you're presented with the home screen. I'm just going to give you a little tour of what we can see on here first of all. Top left hand corner, you've got at the moment just a C8O logo. This will be your company logo, and this is your opportunity to put your own branding on the system with your company logo, name and title. Your company name will also appear here along with the head collaborator. That's generally your system administrator that you have on your system. We also start every system with an example project, which I'm going to walk you through in a moment. And in this case, I've also just created a second project for the purpose of the demonstration. So let me press on and guide you through the various aspects of the system. Essentially, Collabor8online is all about sharing files and controlling who can see them. So if I click into this example project, you can see that I've created a number of folders in there to reflect the way I want to store and share my information. Now, this folder structure is entirely your own creation, so you can create a folder structure that you're familiar with. It might be the same as a folder structure you have on your existing network drive, for example, and that people can immediately recognize. When you create files when you create folders within Collabor8online, you have a few extra features. Firstly, you can put at the top of any folder a chunk of text. This is just rich text that you can create yourself. Typically these text messages include notes about what the folder is designed to contain, who should use it, maybe contact details, addresses, site information, any information that you think is relevant. And as we scroll down the folder here, we can see that we've uploaded an array of files here, PDFs. Once again, you can upload any type of file you like, CAD drawings, PDFs, Excel, Word, basically anything you like. If you upload an image into a folder, the system will thumbnail it and allow you to open and browse through any images that you've uploaded onto your system. Most importantly, at the bottom of every folder, you've got what we call a permissions table. Now, I can only see this permissions table because I'm an administrator on the system. So I can see here, for example, that Alice, Ben, in fact everyone can view this folder, but only Ben, John and the new guy can edit it, and the delete restriction is even more restrictive. So you can create permissions at every folder. If I jump down to the next one below, the private files folder, you can see that my restrictions here are quite different. I've made that a little bit more secure. So you can set permissions at every folder level that you have. If we just continue to browse down the list of folders I've created, I'm going to go into the health and safety folder here. You can see that I've got a variety of files uploaded in there. Also, you can see that you've got the ability to tag files with just about anything that you like, recognizing approved or pending, or adjusting the status of any particular document in there that you wish. Scrolling down through the various folder structure, this is really just to give you an illustration of a typical folder structure. We've got a folder set for drawings for approval, number of drawings in here. Also, you'll notice that we've got an example of different version numbers. So far we've got several versions that are in an original format, but a couple with revision number as revision number 2. So the second, in fact the third revision, we've gone from 0 to 1 to 2 in that case. Revision numbers can also be alphabetical if you prefer. And then you've got a drawings approved section, so we could imagine a scenario where a drawing goes into the approval folder first, then through some process of your own design is approved, and then eventually is moved or copied into the approved folder. At each folder level, of course, you can set your permissions in there. And your folder structure goes on. I've got one for RFIs, new drawing, tasks, messages, calendar, and so on. You can create any number of folders you like in any structure that you like as well. So let's carry on and do that. What I'm going to do is just click into drawings for approval. I'm then going to create myself a new folder. I'm going to call this, let's say, ground floor in there. Here's the space where I could create some notes. I'm just going to put simple line in there. Anything you like can go in there. Notes, telephone number, maybe contact details, whatever you like in this particular section. Right away I get my chance to decide who can view and who cannot view this folder. Now the suggestions here come from the parent folder, so basically it's assuming that the same people can see my drawings for approval folder, or my subfolder, sorry, ground floor, as can see drawings for approval. But of course I can overwrite that. I can change these permissions in any way that I choose to. So I can make it a little bit more restrictive. Maybe I don't want the client to see this folder, I don't want the new guy to see this folder, but I'm happy for other people to create and or edit it. Simply click on add new folder, and your folder, in this case ground floor, is created. We've created it in this case underneath the PDF section, sorry, underneath the drawings for approval section in our folder. I'm going to click on add new now and look to browse my local hard disk. This could be your local machine, this could be your network machine, to select files to upload. I'm going to click on a couple of a lighting drawing, let's say on this survey elevations. I'm using Control or Command here to select a couple of files. If I wanted to use Shift, I could select from the top file to the bottom file, so I can select a group of files at once. Click open here, the list is populated, then just click on add attachment. The system will cycle through, see it's pretty quick, uploading on the relatively small files, uploading those files for us to do there. Just going to take that one stage further, browse again to find a different file. Again, I'll stick with PDFs in here. Let's go for some elevations, upload that one. Big feature here, I can send what we call a notification email out to any of the users. So if I want to send a note to Ben or indeed to Alice to say, hey guys, there's some new content, click on advanced here and I can put my text in here. Let's just go in here. So new docs, please review. Any message you like in there, and then both Ben and Alice will receive an email notification advising them that there's been some new content uploaded and asking them to comment on that item. You can see that the email that we've sent out is actually recorded in the speech bubble next to each file. And one interesting point, which I'll come to later, is that your contacts need only to reply to this email to have their reply and response routed into the actual thread against each document. That's because if you look at the top of the screen here, each folder has its own email address. So if we push a message or a notification out from the system to users, then those users need only reply to that email to have that reply threaded back into this conversation. Keeps you a very tight rein on project communication. The messages are in fact grouped together under the Messages tab. We're going to review that a little bit more closely later. Going to look at a feature now called Smart Add. And Smart Add is going to allow me to upload a new set of drawings to the same folder, but it's going to intelligently try to match newer versions of drawings and documents to older versions. Let's see how that works. Again, just click on Smart Add, then Browse. And I'm going to say that I've got another elevations drawing to go up here. I've also got a different elevations drawing and then maybe a further space plan item. Go through those. Again, you could use the notify functions if you wished, but immediately Smart Add tries to match the drawings to what you have. Here it's offering me a space plan lighting copy A, and it's suggesting it might be an upgraded version of this document. Now looking at the numbers, I can say actually that's not a match, so I can pick here do not match. The second one, proposed elevations ground floor, or GF1, compares to proposed elevations 3. Again, it's a similar file name, but I'll choose do not match. The last one on the list here, I can see that we've now got proposed elevations 4 compared to proposed elevations 3. Now that to me looks like a match, so I'm going to match those documents. What the system's going to do there is increment the version number to revision 2 on our file here, and automatically keep the copies of the old versions, of course. Let me just show you how that works. System runs through fairly quickly. I'll just get rid of the attachment screen. Here we can see that we've incremented this one to revision 2. The other revisions haven't changed because we didn't choose to match them. If I click on the revision history here, I can see the document run from a 0 to 1 to a 2 through the various upload histories. As an administrator, I can always revert to a previous version if I wish to. One of the big things about Collabor8online is it automatically increments version numbers and carries out version management for you, and yet gives administrators the ability to revert to earlier versions at any time if they wish to do so. One other feature of the versioning system within Collabor8online is it constantly keeps track of your versions with these issue sheet features. If I click onto an earlier folder, we can see that this folder has got a variety of drawings again and a couple that have gone through revision histories. If I click on the issue sheet here, we can see that the first issue was generated on the 8th of the 11th, second issue on the 13th of the 11th, third on the 26th, and so on. It also shows me what was contained in each issue, whether the version was included, and what the distribution list for the drawings is. Now I can only see this because I'm a system administrator, but I can see who these documents have been sent to. Most interestingly, I can see that these people with a red cross have not downloaded this particular issue. Green tick means the person has downloaded the issue. So we've got a few red crosses here and a few green ticks. For any user that navigates to this page, they can simply click on this button, and what that feature will do is zip up and download all of the documents in the issue. Nice and easy and convenient for your users, nice and easy and convenient for you to distribute and automatically maintain a drawing register with a series of issue sheets. Let me just navigate back to our ground floor folder and have a closer look at some of these other features. These icons next to each file give you various other bells and whistles, if you will, on the functionality in the system. The eye icon will place a document on watch alert. The eye turns red, and basically if that document is updated or commented upon, or in fact anything happens to that document, the system will then send me an email notice, even if the user who did the modification didn't notify me, telling me that something has changed. So effectively that adds this item onto your watch list, and you will be informed if anything changes about it. If you notice up here, quite common to watch an entire folder. I'm very interested in this folder. I'll watch the entire folder. If anyone adds or adjusts or comments on any of the content in there, I'll receive an email notification from the system telling me what's happened. We've already looked at this speech bubble. Speech bubble contains the history of comments and observations. It also includes the notify comments, so I can insert another item in here if I wish to any of my clients, and I can send that notification out to Ben, Alice, or any of my team members. One other thing about notifications is there's always a checkbox here that says or everyone, and or everyone would be everybody who's in the system with permission to view that folder will receive this comment that I'm broadcasting out. So it's a nice convenient way to broadcast a message to all of the users who are interested in any one particular folder. The pencil icon that we've got here gives you the option to change any of the, we'll call it metadata around the file. So for example, I could add a title in here, and the title field can be long if you wish, anything you like. I'll again reference just ground floor in there. Anything you like in there. I can also note reason for updates, add a keyword to the file, basically change the data surrounding the file in that case. Or indeed I could choose browse here and physically update this file by adding a new version. That's kind of not relying on SmartAdd, if you will. The padlock option, another useful feature, will lock a file. Clicking here places the file status as locked. It tells me that I'm logged in as our user called support service here. If I hover over it, it tells me who's locked it, and whilst a file is locked, no other user in the system can update or edit or change or modify it in any way. So again, a very useful feature to get a set of files locked or a number of files locked, they cannot be changed. That's the padlock icon. Next icon across is the green file share button, and this is an interesting feature. Very simply, it kind of allows you to use Collabor8online as an alternative to email. If I wish to share this particular file with someone, I can just click on it, and in here I can send this email to anybody. I'm going to pick our admin email address here. I can use the BCC function if I will, and then you can include a message to your recipient. The idea here is you just send them a link to that one file only, and the link will expire in a certain amount of time. I'm told reliably that 2,880 minutes is 48 hours. You can change that a little bit longer if you will, 5,000 hours, 5,000 minutes, 10,000 minutes, whatever you choose, it sends a time dependent link to the user that give them the ability to simply download the one file, I should say, without having any reason to view or any ability to log on to the system at all. So it's, if you like, it's an ability to share a file with a user who isn't in your system normally. Now if you want to share the files or any file with someone who is in your system, there's a very convenient share button at the top here. This share button performs two functions. Firstly, it takes us through the routine to actually enter an email address to add someone as a user to the system here. We can send them a message in this point as well, and that will add them as a user to your Collabor8online account and give them permission to view just this one folder that we're looking at the moment. So it's a kind of a very quick and easy way of sharing the entire contents of a folder with just one of your contacts, and it adds them as a user to your system in the same action. Last icon we can see here is another interesting one. As you can see from the clock idea, this will show you the document history. Very interesting. It shows you when it was created, if it was commented upon, when it's been updated, and further comments or whatever. That's very interesting to show you the revision history. A little bit boring view here. We're just looking at all the work done by support service, but of course in a real system you would see a history of different users commenting, changing, maybe updating on any particular document. So a very useful feature is the individual history against each particular file on your system. As we're talking about revision histories and so on, one of the most powerful things that Collabor8online does is it keeps a full audit trail of everything that's happened on the system, effectively telling you who did what and when. There's several places you can view that as a system administrator. Probably the easiest place is to just click on the home icon top left hand corner there and scroll down the screen, and here you can see all of the activity that's happened on your system, even to the point of it will actually tell you which emails were sent and who they were sent to. The idea here is we're trying to end contractual disputes. People can be sent files and you've got a record that they were sent on a certain date, and even, perhaps most importantly, you can observe when people actually downloaded a certain file. So for example, if I pick ourselves as a support service and I look at file downloaded, I'm searching over the entire date range here, I can see all of the files that this particular service has this particular user has downloaded over any particular range. Similarly, I could pick on any other user, for example, maybe Alice. I could insert a date range in here if I like, and I could look at, say, attachment created to see when specific files were uploaded into the system. Here we can see that Alice has uploaded a document back on December the 5th. Now the audit trail is also available as a spreadsheet download for administrators, so if I navigate to the bottom of the left hand navigation bar, I'm going to go into activity audit here. Here I'm invited to enter a date range. I'll pick a date range from let's say 1st of December through to the 31st of December, click export. What I get here, I'm using a Chrome browser, it's downloaded the spreadsheet to the bottom left hand corner of my screen. If I open that up, I'll just center that into the camera. You can see here that we've got a full history of effectively everything that's happened on the system as a live account. And I think one of the very interesting things is in here what we've got is what user it was, what they did, which folder they were acting upon, and perhaps most importantly what date they carried out that action. If you're familiar with this is Excel, spreadsheets in general, they usually have a filter option, so very usefully I can just filter to say Alice, let's say, sorry, if I get rid of everybody except Alice on the list, I can just look at what Alice has done in any particular time. So really zoom in and get the information of, as we said earlier, who did what and when. I mentioned earlier that we'd have another look at the email integration that Collabor8online gives you. Here's a couple of the notification emails, and just download them quickly for convenience. So in this option here we can see this is a copy of one of the emails that the system has sent out. There's the text that we would have entered, basically saying, hi guys, here's some new drawings. First of all, it lists the documents that have been added as new. So these top two are added as new, revision A, and this one has been updated in here. So this is a document that's been incremented from version A to version B. In this case, this example was using numeric versioning. Here's the link in the email that will take the user right through to the latest issue sheet, so we can see all the issues and download them with just one click. So that is the smart add notification that goes out when you upload new files. We also looked at the green file share icon, where you just share an individual file with a time dependent link. Here is the time dependent link, and this simple email with your own text, and this could go to any user in the system, any user who's not in your system, just simply to share a file. And of course, if that was a zipped up file, you'd be sharing a group of files with somebody if you wish, but you didn't want to go through the task of adding them as a user to the system. Going to look at a couple of other features that help you manage and control the documents that you've got in the system. I've navigated here to my drawings for approval. The first thing I want to talk about is the tags and ability to search by tag. I could search, for example, in this particular folder for any tags that I have marked with pending. I've just picked a tag we have there. There's just a couple of files, but I can also include subfolders in that grouping, so I can now see all of the pending files in drawings for approval and any of the folders below it. It doesn't matter if there were many tens or indeed many hundreds of folders, we would quickly get to them. Let me just navigate back to the parent folder there, so I'm back in my drawings for approval folder here. What I might choose to do now, having looked at these documents, is actually change the status of them. I'm going to pick a few documents here, and I'm going to tag them. So tagging is very easy to do. You can create any number of tags. As I should say, a system administrator can create any number of tags, and once they're created, users with edit or upload permissions will be able to tag files if they want to. Just tagging those attachments now as approved, and then what I might choose to do as a next option in that scenario is actually take any of these options here with them. What I'm going to do here is move the files, fairly typically, from our drawings for approval folder to drawings approved. Just click on move. I'm invited to navigate to it. Here's the drawings approved folder. Click move, and 3 attachments have been moved across into drawings approved. Okay, very, very simple. If we have another look at some of those drop down options there, you've got move, obviously that's we've just illustrated. Copy static will take a snapshot of those drawings as they stand at the moment and copy the current version into another folder. Now this is very useful if you are maybe creating a folder that was against a purchase order, so it's a particular set of drawings as they were at that point in time. So it's a static copy. It will not change even if the original document is updated or modified. If you'd prefer to have a copy of the files that does get updated when the original content gets updated or incremented in terms of versions, then the dynamic link is the one that you want. So copying as a dynamic link, and I'll just copy these down to the floor finishes folder, will make a copy of those files, but if I go down to my floor finishes folder, you can see they're displayed slightly differently. We've got a little bit of a link plus an identifier to show you where the original source file is, and these that have been copied as a dynamic link, they will update or increment in terms of version number when the parent is also updated. So that's copy with a dynamic link. I'll go back to my drawings for approved folder. The other options we've got in here would be tag. We've illustrated that one. I'm sure you can follow untag, would allow you to untag or change the tag for any particular item. And finally, very, very useful for users on the system, download as a zip. So very quickly download all these files as a zip. So quick and easy download for your clients and contractors as they're doing it. Now that function is the same function as is now available within, not within SmartAdd, within issue sheets. Remember, they've got this feature here to download this issue. Whilst I'm glancing back at issue sheets, I should also mention that you can export this file as a CSV, or indeed prints as a PDF file. So you can have hard copies as a print, or Excel or spreadsheet downloads, which is extremely useful because obviously you'll get a new column in the issue sheets every time you issue a new set of drawings. So that could be a very wide and lengthy document, very easy to configure and to use that in a spreadsheet format. Couple more features to show you. Probably the most obvious one is the add user feature. Clicking on add user here, simply enter the email for a user you'd like to add to the system. You'll be prompted to answer a few more details like first name, last name, company name if you wish, and the system will then send an invite automatically to that user, giving him his username, login, and an initial password, which of course he can reset whenever he likes. Remember, of course, once you've added a user, he won't be able to see anything until you've given him permission to view some folders. Just looking at that one, we can glance at all our users here. We can obviously edit any details that we want, but if I want to see, for example, what our friend Peter Client can see, I can just click on log in as that user. I'm logging in as Peter Client now. And what we'll see is the left-hand navbar is just contains the folders that he's been given permission to see. So all of those other folders that we've been working on through the demonstration, they're not visible to him. It's not as if he can see them, but he can't access them. He can't see them at all. This gives your users a very simple view, only showing the reduced, typically, number of folders that they are interested in. And once you get into a particular folder, you can see that he's got a restricted amount of icons here. He's got view only access to this folder, so whilst he could indeed download all the files as a zip if he wanted to, and he can comment on them and he can put them on his watch alert, what he can't do is upload new content or amend or adjust them in any way. So it's a restricted view for users depending on the permissions that you've given them. Collabor8online has a whole range of additional features which we've not specifically covered in this video. We're going to cover those in more detail in a later video. Just a quick glance. The feature which we call to-dos can be used, for example, to create RFIs. You can create a task or a request for information, and you can allocate it to a person. You can set a due date for that person, and you can even add attachments to it. So it's a fully comprehensive task or request that can go out to a user, and they can mark it when it's been completed, or update it as it's in progress. Similarly, people might use tasks for snagging lists. You can assign them to different users, and once again they will mark them as completed. When a task is marked as completed, the person who assigned it, the assigner, is automatically informed by email that happens. So to-dos as tasks, calendar functionality as well, when calendar dates and events can be recorded in the calendar, and indeed timesheet functionality. Those features are included in the standard package, but they're covered in a later video. So I hope you found this video of some assistance. Contact details are going to be provided below and embedded at the end of this video. Please get in touch if you'd like to know more, or you need any support or help using your products. Thanks for watching.